All right, welcome back. So far, we've seen how to do things like open a file, read it, and close it. And what I'm going to show you in this video is basically the same exact stuff, but just a slightly different syntax that's really commonly used. So it looks like this: with, and then open a file, the file name, and then as whatever name we want to put here, assuming it's not a reserved word. So in this case, file. So we're not actually saving it to a variable ourselves. Put whatever name we want here, and then inside of here, after the colon, indented, whatever code we write will run no matter what. And so all we have is file.read. But the other really cool thing we can do here, or actually that we don't have to do, is no matter what happens, whether file.read works or there's an error and things go disastrously, the file is going to be closed automatically. We don't have to manually do it. And so that's why I have this down here. File.closed is already true. We never called it. So the with statement is really popular for that reason. We just don't have to manually close the file anymore. It's done automatically for us. Okay, so back over here, I think our file is closed. Yes. So I'm just gonna reread that file in using the with syntax. So with open story.txt as, and I'll call it F just to be different here. And then indent, and we'll do a file.read, and let's save it to a variable. Let's call it data equals f.read. Okay. Hit enter. If I look at F and we run f.closed, it's already closed. If I try and read it, it gives me an error, just like we saw in the last video. This file is closed, you can't read it. I don't know what you're talking about. And if I look at data, here's the data we read in. So again, nice syntax, opens a file, reads it, and then automatically closes. If you're curious behind the scenes what's actually going on, when we open up this file, so let me do it again, f.open, and what did I call that? Story.txt. If I look at F, there's this method called enter. And anytime we have a with block, enter is going to be called. And all that this actually does is return the file object, so nothing exciting. But now there's the opposite, which is called exit. Whenever we have one of these with statements, when it's done, at the very end, no matter how things went, if it was good or bad, if there's an error or not, it's going to call the dunder exit method on F. And so when we call that manually, it closes the file. So this is like an interface. It is an interface for these with statements. So it's not limited to files for opening and reading files. So we can create our own classes, our own objects that can work with statements as long as they have an enter and exit method on them. Enter is called at the beginning, and exit is called no matter what afterwards. Okay, now if I run f.exit and we look at f.closed, it's true. Alrighty. So you'll see me using this syntax, and most people using this syntax pretty much all over the place. You don't have to remember to close it. It's a little shorter and more succinct, and these two operations are related, so you might as well put them together rather than doing things on separate lines, saving it to a variable, and all that. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about writing to a file. But of course, first, exercise time.